Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to go over 5 uncommon Hecarim tips that I've dug up, and really hope that you listen and stick around for them, because I think that any Hecarim player that gets into this video, I think I could help you out quite a bit. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Lowfit. I do educational content. I am a diamond player. I try to be as interactive with my audience as possible. I'm going to put a Discord link and a Twitch link if you ever want to ask me any kind of live questions. I'm extremely receptive to that. And also, if you guys have any video ideas, I would love to hear your comments down below. If there is a comment with a bunch of upvotes on it, I will definitely look into making that video, no matter how absurd it sounds or how weird it is. If you guys want, I don't care. I mean, whatever you guys want. If it's upvoted, I will try and make a video on it. Alright, and let's jump right into the tips. Alright, and jumping into tip number 1, I want to talk a little bit about something that's actually really cool. Really cool with the E. I don't know why I said that weird. But it is something I very rarely see in low elo, but I see quite a bit in high elo, and that is your ability to go over walls with your E can be quite important. But the number one caveat with that is you need to either have a control ward or a yellow ward or a blue ward to get vision on them before you can jump over the wall. Say you use your ultimate in a team fight over here and you want to get an escape, you're getting chased down, you guys lost, you had a feeding Ezreal, which everyone can kind of be like, yeah, that's happened to me before. I'm sorry guys, I hate Ezreal. But so this is just the general rule. It just be, you can see, and if there's an enemy over there, you can E over that. Also, this works the exact same for creeps or scuttlers or a pink ward from the enemy team, but those, I mean, it's hard to get that. So always keep in mind that you can E over the walls to get a little bit of speed when you're running away, maybe have a little bit more chase potential. Maybe you know that, oh, there's probably some enemies walking in this weak point and you're super strong right now, and you can look for an E over the wall. So just have a really good understanding that you can cover a lot more ground and you can have a lot more chase potential and running away potential with your E being able to have things over wall. So just a really quick example would be something like this. Hey, I'm losing this scuttle matchup really badly, so I lost to a Sin Chow or something in the level 3 scrimmage for this, and I'm just trying to run away and I don't want to get chased down. You can look for the E over the wall to get away, as opposed to go over there for maybe the blast cone is down, or to just run in a straight line, because it's going to take them a lot more time to cover that same area that you did because you were able to go over the wall. So just think of it like a Lee Sin Q or a W. So yeah, that will wrap up tip number 1. And guys, if you have your own tips for Hecarim, I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I cannot cover all the tips that I have for Hecarim just because of the format, and I don't want these videos to be too extremely long. So just make sure to comment your thoughts down below. Alright, this tip might be a little bit of common sense, but a lot of people, maybe they're newer to Hecarim, or they don't really understand what the optimal gank is for Hecarim. I just wanted to go over it real quick because I've seen a lot of Hecarims that really don't look for these, and what you want to be looking to do with your ganks is you want to use your E to push back the enemy champion so that they get deeper in the lane and have to run farther away when they are in a numbers disadvantage. So for example, you would want to look to get behind them and then E. Now sometimes people know that that's exactly what you're trying to do, and they will try and run with you. If you're kind of a slow Hecarim, you don't really have too many movement speed items at the time, what you can look to do if you want to get the E pushback but you can't quite seem to get right behind him, if you have your ult up, you can just ult and then E them back, which is going to be just one of your really strong ways to solo and just really focus a particular carry, because a lot of the time they'll be like, oh, this Hecarim's running at me with E. I'm not going to let him get hit behind him with like a stun or a slow. So always just have a good understanding that first up, if you can get the E knocked back without the ult, it usually is better to do it with the ult and just use your ult maybe if they flash away, or if you need to get away, if like 3 people do a counter gank or something crazy like that. So just have a really good I just want to give you guys a good understanding of what you're looking to do inside of ganks. is always optimal, though, to try and get behind them as much as possible just by pathing, and these will provide very strong ganks. I think Hecarim is a really strong ganker and a very strong duelist with the Conqueror and the Q procs being so strong. So yeah, if you have any questions about just how you're looking to gank, how you're looking to engage fights, it's also really good to just get your ult off and then E in team fights when you're looking for that mass ult, just so you can just get that extra little bit of damage, little bit of movement speed with your ult, and just make sure that you're getting in the perfect launch point with your E movement speed into your ult fear. And that will wrap up tip number 2. All right, and for tip number 3, guys, I really wanted to talk about this because I see this so often, and it's just so hard to watch when I'm in low elo. It's just so frustrating. So, you have a hard cap on minions from your healing on your W. You get 30% of the damage you deal to the enemies. So, when you are looking to team or to 1v1 an enemy champion and they have a minion wave, which is great for Hecarim because it gets a lot of life steal from that, you don't want to use your cap of your W before you engage them and take any damage, right? Say you're throwing on your E and then you're Eing and then you're ulting. You're already using all of your spell vamp that you get from your W when you are E and you're ulting. So always look to take advantage of the Spirit of Dread after you've taken a bit of damage, because there is a cap. See right here, Hecarim cannot heal more than 210 health from minions or monsters. So if you're fighting in a minion wave, which is very, very good for Hecarim, you want to save up that extra damage you get from an AoE Q from everyone when you are taking damage. Do not use this Spirit of Dread just nilly-willy. It can be the difference of that 1v1 where you lose with, like, the other guy has 50 health and you just weren't able to vamp enough to kill him. So just have a good understanding of the Spirit of Dread and when you should be using it. Also, putting it on before a little bit of burst damage. If you're starting the fight with low health, you really want to have your EQ and your ult, and you just want to have that damage available for you when you have your Spirit of Dread if you are at a low health threshold. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments down below. Alright guys, and jumping into tip number 4, I want to talk a little bit about itemization and how you should be looking at it with Hecarim, because he is one of those champions that requires a lot of gold, and he's in the jungle, so he doesn't have as much access to gold as some of the solo laners in the mid and top. So a couple things I want to go over with you when you are jungling on Hecarim. What you want to look at here is, what is the enemy team comp? Most of the time, Stalker's Blade is going to be better. I'd say it is the more meta item. But if you're playing against a team that has, say, a Sejuani out of the jungle, a Malphite out of the top lane, a tanky mid, like just a bunch of bruisers that are going to be wanting to get on top of you anyways, where the movement speed isn't going to help at all outside of your passive, sometimes the challenging or the Skirmisher Saber is going to be better because it's going to allow you to be a little bit more tanky in those situations where a lot of people are focusing you. So most of the time, look to be Stalker's Blade. It's very strong. It's a good snowball item when you're chasing people down, and it overall works really well with your kit because it scales off of movement speed. But there are very niche situations where you can have a Skirmisher Saber be a little bit more effective than the Stalker's Blade. You just have to look at the team comp and just understand, like, hey, maybe I need to be a little bit more tanky of a frontline here. Second, it seems like every single Hecarim that I see in low elo is going warrior. But what I want you to understand is Hecarim has very high base damages, and if your team needs a frontline and say you're behind, it's going to be a lot more forgiving to go Cinder Hulk. So do not put yourself in a very difficult situation by always going warrior just because you saw one of your favorite Hecarim players picking warrior once. Just understand you got to look at the current game state. Hey, I'm 0-2 right now. Maybe I need to farm up and I need to be a little bit tanky and be useful in that way. Cinder Hulk is definitely going to be your best choice. But hey, if you went 2-0, you're really strong right now, warrior can be an amazing pick. So always understand that your jungle items should be fluctuating with what's happening. You shouldn't have the the Stalker's Blade with Warrior Enchant every single game, just all the way down the list, unless you're like 100% win rate and you're just snowballing every single game. So just make it a little bit more forgiving, make the game a little bit easier for yourself when you are struggling and falling behind. If you have any questions about itemization, I encourage you to hit me up in the comments down below. All right, and for the final tip, I want to go over something that, again, is very common I see in low elo, which I see is the majority of the player base, is they are not using their Q correctly. Q is an extremely strong ability because of its very low cooldown, low mana cost, high damage, and its ability to stock up Conquer. This is what makes Hecarim really strong in the early game dueling situations. So, how you want to look to fight is you would want to make your engage, and then you would want to be weaving in your autos in between your Qs. So you would want to be canceling them as well. So what you'd be wanting to do would be something like this: auto, and then Q, and then auto, and then Q, and then auto, and just really try and take advantage of your dead time, and you're going to stack up your Conqueror really quickly. That's what gives Hecarim the ability to duel a lot in the early game. He used to be a little bit of a weaker dueler that couldn't really deal with some of the super strong things like Lee Sin and Xin Zhao and Graves and Kindred, but now with the Conqueror changes and his Q changes, he is very strong. Obviously those two things have gotten nerfed both individually, so it isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still is extremely strong. So make sure you are looking to cancel as many auto attacks and get that Conqueror stack up as quickly as possible, because it's also going to provide you healing, extra damage, and then the true damage conversion, which is just absolutely huge. So it is absolutely key that you are stacking up your Conqueror as quick as possible just with your Qs. So just always look to take advantage of just auto Q, and then it's going to be just a really fun champion once you get a hold of your auto attack canceling, and then even kiting people out a little bit if you wanted to wait on your short Q cooldown with the high movement speeds. I mean, there's just so many different things you can do in the skirmishes with Hecarim. If you guys have any questions about just the basic rotations that you need to be doing on Hecarim, hit me up. That is going to wrap up my video, guys. I really appreciate all the support recently. The videos have been doing really well. I've been having a blast on the streams on Twitch. And yeah, thank you so much, and take it easy.